Well, it's raining out there. It's actually almost flooding. But here we go. What do you got, Peter?
Hello. I think, come on in. I think I'm going to explore the Microbit's internal sensor today. It's in conjunction with the weather. It's a temperature sensor, and it doesn't really measure the atmospheric temperature. It more or less measures the temperature of the Microbit. But the principles are the same. We'll have some fun with it, learn some new things. The thing about this one is that it only displays, without a little manipulation, Celsius. And what we'd like to do is modify that a little bit so that if we press one button, we get a Celsius display on these LEDs. And if we press the other button, which I'm going to call B, we'll get a display in Fahrenheit. So let's get over to the iPad in a few minutes and see what's going on. Well, here we are in the Microbit app's home screen, where we can either choose a Microbit, create code, flash, and send it to the actual Microbit, monitor and control, and some ideas. Well, we've already chosen our Microbit, so let's jump to the Create Code window. Now there's a bunch of projects that we've had lingering around, but we want to start a new one. Let's call this, to coincide with our note, let's call it Microbit for Seniors Temperature. Remember, I could spell that. TempR, T-U-R-E. Okay? And then create. This is where we came for, or what we came for. Now, we probably don't need the start block, so let's take that one and drag it off. However, this time we will need the forever block. We'll need a couple of input blocks, so let's bring those in now. Because we're going to have the A button display, let's have that one display the Celsius temperature. Let's get another one. B. Notice it isn't B yet, but it will be as soon as I choose it. And that one will display the Fahrenheit temperature. We'll need a couple of variables. Now they aren't made for us, so we have to make them. Click on Make a Variable. And we'll call this, bring up the keyboard here. We'll call this Temp, T-E-M-P. Let's start with Celsius. So there's a variable called TempC, and that's for Celsius. Let's make another one. Let's go. That little dot is from the pencil. Let's call this one T-E-M-P, F for Fahrenheit. So we have our two variables. Now you might bring them over into the work area right now. Oops, variables, and TempF. They can't be used yet. They're going to have to be displayed somehow, and they haven't been calculated with yet either. Can you remember that conversion formula? Well, let's say you can't. After a while, you want to keep referring back to it. You might want to just add a note. So you hold down, can you see that? You hold down and it says Add Comment. And the comment we're going to add, just type it right in there. We don't want that big keyboard. Let's make a smaller one so we can see what we're doing here. Let's call that temperature conversion, course, I can't type on this. TempRat conversion. So we've got a little note here, which is a little tricky to resize, but I did it with the pen just then, but it leaves that trace of a line and then goes away. Let's back that up. We don't want that little line there. Temperature conversion will be, if we can remember, the temperature in, did it backwards, TEMP, the temp in Fahrenheit is equal to the temp in Celsius times 1.8 plus, we can get to all these symbols, plus 32. Let's see if I got that approximately right. Temperature conversion. Temperature Fahrenheit equals temperature Celsius times 1.8 times 32. Now, if you're really lucky, we can resize that. We'll just keep that around. Notes, anytime you want, hold down and add comment will appear. Okay? Well, it's time to tackle the math. Well, before we even do that, why don't we at least get the Celsius temperature? That comes up automatically. The Celsius temperature comes in as input. It shows us down here, we go through a lot of these things, we're familiar with the button A, not the shake yet, and some of the other things. But down near the bottom is something called temperature. In Celsius, it says. So let's bring that over here. We haven't put it inside a block, so it stays gray like that. Well, we have to use a variable to set one of the, we have to use the variable blocks to set one of the variables. It's sort of like making it equal to. So we'll choose set the temperature F, which is not really what we want, to whatever the reading is, temperature C. So you just slide that in there like that. But we wanted that actually to be temperature C. So all the time we're going around and checking the temperature from the sensor inside the microbit and assigning it to the variable temperature C. Now what we want to do is convert this into a Fahrenheit temperature. We've got the temperature C now. So we'll go back to the variables and choose temperature F, slide it in there. Temperature F is equal to temperature C, but a little bit of math has to be conducted here. Well, let's bring that back out again and go to the math. We need to multiply, so we choose the 1, 2, third one down. We need to multiply the Celsius temperature, pop that in there, by, this number just types in, 1.8. 1, oh, that's a lot of work, 0.8. I think, is that a 1? I guess so. Okay, let's give it a try. Bring this up here. So now we said the temperature of Fahrenheit is equal to the Celsius temperature times 1.8. But our formula said then you have to add 32. So what we do is get another variable, set temperature, not to 0, right there. The old temperature is the temperature C plus times 1.8, and now we have to take temperature C No, we don't. We have to take temperature F, which has been updated, and add 32. Luckily, we had one right down here. But we need another math. So let's go here. This time it's an add block. Set that temperature and add 32. 30W doesn't work well. 2. There we go. So the final Fahrenheit temperature, which will slide in there, will be equal to the one that had the multiplied by 1.8 and now has 32 added to it. So now we do know the Celsius temperature and the Fahrenheit temperature. We have to make it show up in one of these blocks here whenever we press that particular button. If you remember, the show number button is up in the basic block. We're going to need 2 of those. Show number B. Might be worthwhile to make a comment here and you say that the A button is Celsius and the B button is Fahrenheit. Not necessary though. But we don't want it to show 0, we want it to show the variable either TempC or TempF. So let's go back to variables, pull out a TempC, pop it in there. Variables, pull out a TempF, pop it in there. That looks like it might be done. Let's give it a try. Over here in the simulated window on the left, it says that the temperature now is 21 degrees. So if we press the A button, 21 shows up. If we press the B button, 69 shows up. Hopefully that's the correct conversion. There's a little thermometer simulated here too. Let's bring that down to 0. And we know 0 is 32. We can get it exactly there. Yeah, close enough. Let's see what the Fahrenheit equivalent is. It should be up in the 28.4. If I recall, 30, let me see if I can get 30 to show up here. I can't get anything to show up now. -1. 30 degrees, yeah. 32 is 0. So it looks like the thing's working. Okay, let's flash this to the actual physical microbit. Click on that. We'll get this prepared. Pressing the A and B button, then press the reset button. Shows us the code, flashing the microbit, discovering, flashing, sending. Everything looks good, even says OK. So let's take a look at it and see if it actually displays the temperature now. A, 27 degrees. B, 80.6 degrees. I guess we did it. We made a temperature sensor display both Fahrenheit and centigrade. That's pretty much it for today. Bye.